So I'm happy to say that my friend Bhagavad is here today. So he would like to say hello to everybody.
Hello,
Hare Krishna.
everyone. Hello, Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And so we'll be doing some singing and some reading and talking. So first thing is I'd like to sing a song for our Gurudev. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Karave Hase Chanapekatina Kripa Bindu Diya Karave Hase Rapidina Sakala Sane Padiya Kora Jamanis Priyahina Sakala Sahane Padiya Kora Jamanis Priyahina Sakale Saman Prite Shakati Ehonata Yata Sakale Saman Prite Shakati Tabitoga Iba Namasoka Aparada Tabitoga Iba Namasoka Aparada Kabeno Kripa Lavaya Jama Tarta Kabeno Kripa Lavaya Jana Tarta Shakti Buddhi Namayati Paramare Atma Sata Shakti Buddhi Namayati Paramare Atma Sata Yagyata Chare Krishnai Pai Tamara Karuna Sara Yagyata Chare Krishnai Pai Tamara Karuna Sara Karuna Hoile Kanya Kundya Pranara Kiva Karanana Hoile Kanya Kundya Pranara Kiva Kripa Vinduriya Kridase Napikatina Kripa Vinduriya Kridase Napikatina Sakala Sahane Palodina Yavanes Priyahina Sakala Sahane Palodina Yavanes Priyahina Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama So I'd like to read the translation of that beautiful song.
Okay.
Gurudev, give to the servant just one drop of mercy. I am lower than a blade of grass. Give me all help, give me strength. Let me be as you are, without desires or aspirations. I offer you all respects, for thus I may have the energy to know you correctly. Then, by chanting the holy name in great ecstasy, all my offences will cease. When will such mercy fall to this one who is weak and devoid of intelligence? Allow me to be with you. If you examine me, you will find no qualities. Your mercy is all that I am made of. If you are not merciful unto me, I can only weep, and I will not be able to maintain my life. So I'd like to just say some prayers to obeisances to my Gurudevs. Aganatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshunan Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who with the torchlight of knowledge has opened my eyes which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance. Namaste Shri Bhakti Vidya Gaurvanya Shrimurti Prema Bhakti Rasamade Paramajay Prabhavi Namaha. Nam Vishnu Para Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminite Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Niveshe Shunyavadi Pastachadishtarne. Nam Vishnu Para Radhikaya Priyatne Shrimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanite Namine. Shri Shri Deva Goswami Raj Ki Jai, Shri Bhaktiranda Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. So we're reading today from Bhagavad Gita chapter 9, the royal science of the mysteries of divine communion. The all-merciful Lord then said, because you have an innocent heart, I shall disclose to you that secret path of wisdom, which having been fully realized, will lead you to complete freedom from suffering. This most royal of sciences is the supreme monarch amongst mysteries, the purest and most holy of ways. It brings one to the direct perception of the spiritual realm, which should be understood as the final accomplishment of all religions, and it bestows supreme joy, which lasts forever. Those who are without sincere faith in the path of loving devotion can never reach me. They face continued rebirth amidst the obstructions and harassments of the mundane world, and must continually experience death. I am ever present at every locale throughout creation, in a form invisible to mundane eyes. All sentient beings have their existence in my existence, yet I am never dependent on them. It is only indirectly, through the agency of my inconceivable divine potencies, that I give sustenance to those living in this world and provide a foundation for the cosmos. Nevertheless, it is I myself who am the unitary source of all existences. Just as the breezes blow freely, floating in the sky, so you should understand that all living entities are floating within the vast ocean of my existence. O most dear son of Kunti, at the conclusion of each universal time cycle, all sentient beings, as well as the manifested material nature, are absorbed into me, and at the dawn of the next cycle, I again manifest the varied creation through the expansion of my potencies. I am the proprietor of the material nature, and when my potent will enters into it, the diverse phenomena of the universal order become manifest. By my will this occurs time and time again. This work of creation cannot bind me because I maintain a position of neutrality and hold no special attachment to any aspect of creation. Material nature manifests all animate and inanimate existences under my supervision, and all mundane phenomena may be ultimately traced to this cause. Because I appear in human form, the ignorant think low of me, assuming me to be an ordinary person. They are unable to understand the supreme nature of my existence or my sovereignty over all creation. Persons of atheistic temperament, who do not hesitate to do evil, remain bewildered as if under a magic spell. They lose all hope, become frustrated in all their plan making, and are simply baffled by their scientific efforts to gain knowledge. The most highly evolved of souls take direct shelter of my divine nature and absorb themselves fully on the sacred path of service, never allowing themselves to be distracted from remembering me as the inexhaustible fountainhead of all creation. Such noble and sublime persons may always be seen to be singing my praises, attempting with determined effort to please me, offering their humble respects to me within the temples and within the hearts of all, and perpetually absorbed in the rapture of pure devotional ecstasy. There are other souls who by culture of spiritual understanding offer homage to me, and still others who seek an undifferentiated oneness with me. Some see the diversities of the world and worship my various potencies, whereas others hold a pantheistic view and are unable to see past my cosmic form. It is I who am the ceremony at which the summer beverage is consecrated, and I who am the very essence of the offering of sacrifice to God. I am the curative potency of all the healing herbs, the source of power and deliverance in the sacred chants and psalms, the fire of sacrifice and the melted butter thrown into it as oblation. I am the father and the mother of the universe. Indeed, I am its grandfather and the very root of its existence. I am the entirety of all that is to be understood. I purify all that comes into contact with me, and I am myself the sacred sound Om and the Rig, Sama, and Yajurvedas. I am the supreme goal of life, the sustenance of all, the greatest master, the ever-present witness, the true home of everyone, the only safe shelter, and the most sincere friend. In me the universe has its primeval origins, and in me it will have its end. I am the limitless ground upon which everything rests, and the seed from which everything was born. My dear Arjuna, I provide heat to the world, and it is I who send forth the rains. I provide the nectar of life everlasting, yet I am also the Lord of death. Both the eternal and the temporal come from me. The process of Vedic sacrifice at which the summer beverage is consumed is described in the three Vedas as having the potency to cleanse one of all sin. Some Vedic scholars therefore carry out these sacrifices with a view towards gaining access to celestial paradises and enjoying the opulent pleasures of the gods. Having relished such great pleasures in the celestial realms, they must again return to this world and live under the shadow of death when the credits they have earned through their self-interested sacrifice have all been spent. Thus their study of the doctrines of the Holy Scriptures gains them only temporal happiness, because their desire is selfish. However, I come personally to meet their every requirement and ensure the full security of those who are undeviating in their remembrance of me and perpetually absorbed in a consciousness of pure devotion. Plagued with misunderstanding, souls offer faithful homage to other gods, yet all their offerings are really intended for me only. For I am the true enjoyer at all the sacrifices and indeed their governing principle. Those who do not know this truth about me are out of touch with the absolute reality. Those who worship the Devas take birth in their company. Those who carry out ancestor worship go to be with their forefathers. Those who worship ghosts and evil spirits find their place with such creatures. But those who follow the sacred path of my divine service come to live with me personally. I come myself to accept the love-saturated offerings of my pure devotees, even if they be a simple leaf, a flower, a fruit, or a little water. My dear Kunteya, whatever you eat and drink, whatever you offer in sacrifice or give away in charity, and whatever penance that you perform, let it all be done with love as an offering to me. You will thereby become liberated, even in this life, from both favorable and unfavorable reactions, and will become free from the bondage to fruit of work. By establishing your consciousness in divine communion with me, you will gain the complete freedom that comes with my personal presence. I am equally disposed towards all sentient beings, having no rivals and playing no favorites. Yet for those who offer their loving service to me with hearts filled with devotion, I become personally present. Persons of saintly character who engage uninterruptedly in my divine loving service must be considered to be completely pure, even if by chance they appear to perform some impure act. After a very short time, they become fully reconciled with divine law and achieve enduring peace. My dear Kunteya, you should openly proclaim that my pure devotees shall never be failures. Anyone who follows the path of surrender to me is certain to achieve the supreme goal of life, be they low-born or high, male or female, wealthy merchants, or simple labourers. How exalted then are the great teachers, the pious devotees, and the sagacious monarchs, who in the midst of this temporal and unhappy world remain fully absorbed in loving service to me. Always absorb your mind in remembering me, remain lovingly devoted to me, adore me with your acts of worship, and humbly kneel down before me. Entering into such complete divine communion, you will surely reach my personal presence. So in this verse, Krishna says, however, I come personally to meet the every requirement and ensure the full security of those who are undeviating in their remembrance of me and perpetually absorbed in a consciousness of pure devotion. So this is very interesting that we can get the full protection of Krishna, the full security. Everyone is looking to feel safe, we don't want to worry, to have anxiety, to have stress, these things, That is not our life. But that is only possible if we come under the shelter of the Lord. There's no other way to get that peace. Because this is His mercy, this is His love, this is His kindness, I was just thinking, like, sometimes, even today, the sun is always there, the sun is shining, giving light, giving heat all the time, but sometimes the clouds, they come, and then you can't feel the heat of the sun, you can't see the light of the sun, but the sun is still there.
Yeah.
So this is what our position is in this material world. We have the clouds of ignorance have covered us. So you can think of ignorance like a cloud. It covers, it puts you into a state of bewilderment. As Krishna says to Arjuna in the 18th chapter, the fog that darkens his heart and bewilderment that clouds his mind. He asks Arjuna, has that cleared now? After the Lord has spoken, he asks him, I'll see if I can find that verse where he says to, it's actually in the 18th chapter, he asks Arjuna, after speaking to him for 1 hour on the battlefield, he then asks him, he says, O most fortunate of souls, dear child of Pritha, have you listened to all these words of mine with single-pointed attention? Has the fog which darkened your heart lifted, and has the bewilderment which clouded your mind and will been swept away? So, this fog, just like when the fog comes here with the mist, you can't see things clearly.
Can't see.
So the same thing, if that fog of misunderstanding is in your heart, and also bewilderment, you don't know clearly what things are. This is like a cloud. So when this comes, then this is called ignorance. So everyone in this material world is in that ignorance. The heart, there's a fog over the heart, and the mind is bewildered. So in that condition, then we do not know God. We do not feel His love. We, just like the sun, when it is covered by the clouds, you can't feel the warmth and you can't see the light of the sun. So, but the sun is always there. So in the same way, Krishna is always there with His love, with His blessings. But in this world, unfortunately, everyone has been choosing not to be with Krishna. It is our choice, it is not His choice. But fortunately, Krishna comes Himself, and He also sends His saints, His gurus, to destroy that ignorance. Just like that prayer, Agina Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya. We pray to the Guru to remove the darkness of ignorance in the heart, like that. And when that happens, then you can feel the love and the blessings of the Lord all the time. All the time. Just like the sun, if the clouds clear, then you can see the light of the sun, you can feel the warmth of the sun all the time. Not just 5 minutes here, no, 24/7. So in the same way, when this ignorance is destroyed, this forgetfulness of God, because every day, if you think about it, people get up, they go to work, they have their family life, they've got office life, so many things going on, but how much of the time are they thinking of God? Are they thinking about money? Are they thinking about insurance problems, this problem, that one? How much time are they actually? Because like when we come to this path of Krishna consciousness, they explain that we have all forgotten God for a long, long time. So now what we're doing, by the grace of the Guru, is he's teaching us how to remember God again. How do you do that? There's 4 stages. First, Nam. Nam means holy name. So Krishna has a name, and the first step toward remembering Krishna again is to remember his name. So that's why we chant the mantra, the holy name.
Okay.
But then the next step is called Rupa. Rupa means form. So Krishna is a person. We can see what he looks like. We have descriptions what he looks like.
Yes.
Lord Brahma explains in the Brahma Samhita, the Govindam prayers, Venum Kvanantam Aravinda Dalaya Taksham Bhavatam Samasatam Buddha Sundarangam. So he describes that Krishna is the color of a blue rain cloud, he's playing a flute, his body is a dark blue color, he wears a peacock feather. We get the descriptions of what does Krishna look like. So that's Rupa, form. So you can think about Krishna, not only his name, but then you can start thinking about what he looks like. The next stage is called Guna. As you hear from the great saints, they begin to tell us what is his personality, what kind of a person is he, many, many descriptions of his character. And it's like any person you know. You can say, okay, this person I know, he's a quiet person, or he's a very jolly person. Everyone has their own personality. So Krishna has his own personality, and we hear from those that know him, what is that personality? In fact, there's a book called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and in that book, 64 qualities of Krishna are described. Those are his principal qualities.
No.
What is his character? 64.
64.
Yeah. He has many, many wonderful qualities. He's very kind, he's gentle, he's also shy. It's quite amazing that although he's the Supreme Person, he's very shy. In fact, sometimes there's an example given if he, like when he's playing the part of a small boy, he gets hungry, but he's too shy to ask his mother for food. So we can hear very wonderful qualities. He's very funny also. Krishna makes very funny jokes. Yeah. So gradually, as we hear from the great saints, we get to know about him? What is his personality? This is called guna. So nam, name, rupa, form. We can get to know clearly what does Krishna look like. Guna. Then what is his behavior? What is his personality? And the fourth stage, which is the most advanced stage of remembering God, is called Leela. Leela means that Krishna is doing all kinds of wonderful things in the spiritual world. Those are called pastimes. With his cowherd boyfriends and the cowherd maidens and his cows, he's taking them out to the forest every day. He's doing all wonderful things, and that's called Leela, and that's going on all the time. And the very, very advanced devotee, those activities appear in his heart like television, transcendental television. It's very hard to imagine. But it's not like television is not real in that sense. But this is real activities, like a live broadcast going on of what's happening in the spiritual world that begins to appear in the heart of the pure devotee. It's unimaginable that he can see what's going on in the spiritual world. Yeah? And not only that, but then he begins to enter into those pastimes. So this is very, very advanced, very high. But these are the different stages of how to always think about the Lord. And that can only happen if your heart gets soft. If your heart begins to feel love for Krishna, then you can more and more get closer to him and enter finally into his pastime. So this is the qualification, bhaktya mam abhijanati, that the absolute truth can be perceived directly by a heart that has been transformed and melted by the ecstasy of unalloyed devotional love. So this is the process that there will be a change of heart. Instead of thinking about so many other things in this material world, you start thinking only about Krishna, about his name, about what he looks like, his wonderful personality, and his wonderful activities. So this is the process of bhakti yoga, of Krishna consciousness that we are being taught. And as that happens, then the clouds clear. Just like Krishna speaking to Arjuna, that the fog that's darkening his heart, the bewilderment that's clouding his mind, disappears. Because then we're in the bright, bright sunlight of Krishna. And there's no other goal for the human life. There's no other goal except to come to know and love Krishna directly and associate with him personally. So this is a very amazing process. But it's difficult sometimes. Just like yesterday, I was out giving out the flyers again, and I was at the shopping mall. So there's one lady standing by the car, so I give her one flyer and I begin to talk to her. And she was quite interested. Yes, this is Gauranga Krishna. She didn't know the names, but she was listening. But all of a sudden, this gentleman comes from the other side of the car. He says, "What are you doing? Talking to my wife. Get away from her.
Yo.
What are you doing? What are you doing with my wife?"
Yeah.
I said, "Excuse me, this is a religious society. I'm telling her about some names of God." He says, "Get away, get away." Yeah? So this is ignorance. Ignorance, he's thinking I'm doing something bad to his wife.
His wife, yeah.
And he himself was a cripple. He had one leg amputated, cut off,
Yo.
So I said, "Okay, sorry, sir." And then I see him suffering like this. I said, "I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you." He said, "Yes, my whole life has been destroyed by this, this amputation." So you could see he was such a miserable, unhappy man, so suffering so much, and yet he doesn't want to hear about Krishna. Yeah. Even though Krishna can take away all our sufferings. Nobody else can take away our sufferings. He's one man, he's got one leg cut off, His life is so miserable, yeah? Yeah, he's suffering, he's complaining so much.
Yeah.
But the only person that can take away his suffering, he doesn't want. He doesn't want. He says, get away from my wife.
Yeah.
What is that? That's ignorance, isn't it?
Yeah.
He doesn't know what is good for him. He doesn't know what will help him. So he's a fool. I'm not being disrespectful to him, but he's a number one fool, isn't it? If you're suffering and somebody comes to you, a very, very good doctor, and says, you come to me, I'll give you medicine, I'll give you everything, and you'll be 100% fine. And you say, no, get away. What is that? Huh? You are a fool, number one. You are actually enemy to yourself.
For yourself, yes.
So we see so many people in this world like that they're suffering in this material world. They got one leg cut off, they got legal problems, they got money problems, health problems, so many problems, relationship problems, divorce, this, that.
Yeah.
They're suffering, but they don't want
They don't want
God.
to
Don't talk to me about Krishna. Huh? So it's very sad, very unfortunate. But the Lord does not give up. You see, He keeps knocking on the door. And this is the thing. Yeah. And we're lucky because especially Lord Gauranga, he comes with Nitai and Gauranga. They're like the sun and the moon. And especially Nityananda, we see him there. He doesn't take no for an answer.
Sure.
He doesn't accept a no for an answer. You can go there. He can come knocking on your door and you say, get away, go away. He won't accept no. You see? So this is great kindness. Yeah? Sometimes we see like that, a person gets some kind of fever. They get some fever and they go a bit crazy from the fever, yeah? Makes them a little bit mad. And when the doctor comes to give medicine, they'll push the doctor, they'll fight with the doctor. Isn't it?
Sure.
It's a madness because of the disease. So the same thing, in this world, everyone is diseased with the illusion, with Maya. They've forgotten that I'm not this body, I'm the soul. They've forgotten that there's the Supreme Person who is Krishna, that He's my friend, He's my protector. They've forgotten all of that. So this is a madness. But fortunately, Gauranga and Nitai especially, they know how to treat the mad people. They can fix them, you see.
Yeah.
Even they don't want to be fixed. So this is our position, you know. But better that we cooperate. You know, if you're sick, it's better that you go to the doctor, you take the medicine, you get better, rather than you fight the doctor, isn't it? It's better that you cooperate. Yeah.
Yes.
So we should help each other to cooperate, you know, with the Lord and His plan. Prabhupada is giving an example. It's like a frog. He lives in a well. And his friend goes off and he goes to the Atlantic Ocean. And he comes back and he says to this frog that lives in the well, I must tell you about the Atlantic Ocean. It's very, very big. So the frog says, is it 3 times bigger than my well or 4 times? You see? Because he doesn't know anything except his little well.
Yeah.
He can't imagine what is this other Atlantic Ocean. So the same thing, we live in this material world. We think, oh, this is nice. Next week I'm getting promotion. Or next week we're going to movies. Or next week we're going to go for picnic. Yeah? And we're feeling happy. You see, we think this is happiness. But meantime, death is there, old age is there, disease. What is this happiness? It's not happiness. Yeah. So we think like that. We think, oh, this is a happy place. But actually the happy place is somewhere else. That is the spiritual kingdom.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes and says to you, oh, why don't you come? Why don't you leave this place and come to a really happy place? We say, no, thank you. This is fine here. This is very nice here. Yeah. Like that man yesterday when I'm trying to give the information to his wife, he's saying, get away from my wife. As if I'm a criminal. Huh? I'm coming to rob her. Or what I'm trying to give her is eternal life. And he says, get away from my wife. You see? So what is this? This is madness. Madness, yeah? But fortunately the Lord and the Lord's devotees are very kind. They don't get upset. Even though you look at Jesus Christ. They crucify Him And what is he saying on the cross? He says, forgive them.
Yeah.
They don't know what they're doing.
They do.
Forgive them. This is the saint. Very tolerant, very forgiving. So this is our hope, our only hope. You know, we're mad, crazy people in this world. We don't know what's good for us. But if we can try to hear from the saints, read from the books, the holy books, this will give us direction, you know, to take us away.
Away, yes.
In the Sanskrit language, there's a word called Amrit. Amrit means, in English, nectar. Nectar, yeah. And that nectar means, if you go to someone in this material world and you try to give them something about God consciousness, what are you doing? You're actually giving them nectar. Why? Because this will end their cycle of birth and death. It will make them deathless. Amrit. Amrit means deathless, no more death. Yeah. So is there anything better you can give someone than to help put an end to death? No more dying. Yeah? Go to a place where there's no more death. Can you give something better than that? No. So this is what we're doing. When we go out, you tell someone about Krishna, you tell them about the Lord, you try to help them move closer to the Lord. You're giving them deathlessness. If they follow this path, the time will come when they won't come back to this material world. Amrit, nectar. That's the real nectar, yeah. So there's so many people that need it.
Yeah.
So many, not only the people, all the animals, the birds, the insects, the grass. They're also suffering in this material world. But Lord Gauranga has come, Nitai, and they're saying that we have come to take you home. All of you, the birds, the insects, everyone is going to go home. Going to go home. The real home, where there's no more birth, old age, disease and death, no more anxiety, no more quarrel, no more loneliness. No. As Krishna says, it's completely free of suffering, that place. No suffering whatsoever. So that is the happy world, that is happy life. This so-called happiness in this material world is not happiness. People think like that. Oh, I'm doing well now in the material world. Things are going good for me. I'm getting a paycheck, big paycheck. Yeah, I'm having nice parties. Yeah, nice holidays. Things are good. Yeah, no. How can you make? Krishna himself says, "Dukkhalayam shashvatam." This place is temporary and miserable. You cannot change that. Come home. Come home. So we should go home.
Yes.
Not try to stay here. I won't go home. This is crazy stuff, crazy. So we can read a little bit from Srila Prabhupada as well, and then get some more inspiration. This is the good thing, is that you see these great souls. They come to this world, but they are not like us. They are not mad. They are not mad for money or anything in this material world. They're mad for Krishna. So they are healthy, spiritually healthy. We are not healthy. So therefore we need to go to them to be healthy. How do you go to them? You listen. What is he saying? What does he sing? What does he speak? It will make you well. That's why we should regularly, often, hear from them, read their books, hear their lectures, because that is the medicine that we need to get well. So it should be done regularly. We want to get well quickly. We don't want to stay sick here for a long time. So we can read a little bit from Prabhupada. This is an article called "The Right Source of Knowledge." This conversation between His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and biochemist Thudam Singh, PhD, took place in Bhubaneswar, India on February 3rd, 1977. Dr. Singh: Srila Prabhupada, many people would probably agree with what you say about getting knowledge. The ascending path, pulling ourselves up by our own bootstraps, if you will, has to be always uncertain and incomplete. But when you can get your knowledge from a genuine authority who already possesses higher knowledge and experience, that path, the descending path, is much better. The preferable path for acquiring knowledge is the descending one. Srila Prabhupada, yes. Avaroha Pantha, the descending path, is naturally superior. Why? Because Aham Adir Hidevanam. This path of knowledge starts from Lord Krishna himself, the origin of all knowledge. And it descends from the Lord through his bona fide representatives, godly personalities such as Brahma, Narad, and Vyas. They are all devas, godly personalities. And Krishna says, Aham Adir Hidevanam. I am the very origin of all these godly personalities. Therefore, this Vedic knowledge is coming directly from Krishna through the system of parampara, or disciplic succession. And the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna's book, is the same thing. Through this book, the Lord's literary incarnation, his knowledge is coming down to us still. To facilitate our knowledge acquiring process, the Lord himself is speaking directly to us. His own words are recorded for us in the Bhagavad Gita. There, Krishna speaks directly to the human being, Arjuna, and through him directly to us. Therefore, the Bhagavad Gita is the right source of knowledge. Dr. Singh, yesterday a doctor of agricultural science visited me. He has his PhD from the University of Missouri, and we talked together for a long time. In fact, we were talking about doing some experiments together. One experiment would be to prove that the chemical reactions within the living body are different from the normal chemical reactions that we know. In fact, some famous experiments have already touched on this very point. A French scientist named Kevran says his findings are beyond our present knowledge of chemistry. In other words, the chemical reactions within the living body are so vastly different from ordinary reactions. They prove that life is non-chemical, non-physical. Srila Prabhupada, that is correct. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, life is non-chemical, non-physical. Dr. Singh, yes, and we want to prove it on a purely experimental basis. It's a very simple experiment. We germinate some seeds, like barley or rice, and we calculate the amount of, let's say, calcium. Now, as a place to germinate the seed on, we use a piece of ashless, pure cellulose filter paper, completely devoid of calcium. First, we calculate the amount of calcium present before the seed germinates. Then we germinate the seed with deionized water, again completely devoid of calcium. Once the seed germinates, we analyze the calcium content. What Kevran found is this: the amount of calcium is much increased. So we do not know where that calcium is coming from. And this phenomenon is beyond our present knowledge of chemistry. Srila Prabhupada, the soul has entered and has germinated the seed, and this has produced the increased calcium. Dr. Singh, yes. This increased calcium has to be coming from somewhere. There has to be a cause. Srila Prabhupada, that cause is the soul. Dr. Singh, there's another nice experiment that uses Spanish moss, a plant common in Florida, where it grows on many kinds of trees. We found that this Spanish moss also grows on copper wire, and when it does, amazingly, it produces iron. So there are many intriguing experiments. The U.S. Department of Agriculture can perform these and help shed light on the spiritual dimension. Srila Prabhupada, in essence, these experiments prove that life produces matter. Spirit produces matter. Dr. Singh, yes. Srila Prabhupada, not that matter produces life. No, this is established. Matter does not produce life. It has quite the opposite. Life, spirit, produces matter. Only when there is spirit can these increased quantities of calcium or iron come forth. Dr. Singh, there is another nice experiment that was done by a German scientist called Hauschka. He was studying the interaction of moonlight and plants. So he measured the amount of a particular element in, say, a flower. I don't exactly remember. And he measured the amount of that element present in the plant according to the waxing and the waning of the moon. As it turns out, the element increases in the light of the full moon. Yes, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna confirms that he supplies the succulence, the juice of life, to vegetables through the light of the moon. Dr. Singh, surely. And Hauschka's experiment demonstrates this whole phenomenon very graphically. You understand, a curve showing this element rising and falling with the waxing and waning of the moon. Srila Prabhupada. Yes, by the Lord's natural arrangement, the moonlight is full of living entities who interact most beneficially with the vegetation. And similarly, the Brahmajyoti, or universal effulgence, is full of living entities. So these phenomena are beyond science. Srila Prabhupada, not beyond, you do not know that science. Dr. Singh, by beyond science I meant beyond our present science, our present scientific knowledge. Srila Prabhupada, yes, your present science is imperfect, but this additional dimension we are discussing is within the realm of science. This is spiritual science. Wow. Amazing. That in the moonlight there are living entities.
Yeah.
And they, because of those, they interact with the vegetable. And they give that vegetable nice flavor.
Nice flavor, oh yeah.
Just from the moonlight. Wow. And also in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that there are plants that are medicines. They can heal. And that's also because of the moonlight.
Oh, yes.
They get the power to heal.
Power to heal. Oh,
It comes from the moonlight. Hare Krishna, thank you very much.